All right, here we go. Shabbat Shalom. Can you all hear me? Give you all a little bit of time to come on in this special. I know I'm a lot earlier than normal. Give folks some time to come on in. There we go. Let me go and this get this countdown started. Let me go ahead and get this thing started. I don't have much time. Here we go. All right. So Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome. I'm here wearing my QTUA Roots and Reunion, which is, I think, the most appropriate um, shirt to have as I'm getting ready to meet with one of the kings here in the eastern region of Ghana. So, just to kind of give you a little bit of the visual I'm getting, you have mountains in the background. Yeah, trucks with the Jamaican flag. And then you have some of the mountains here in the background. We're cruising because we're late to an engagement with the king. The actual town you're on the cellular network here in Ghana. So I was able to kind of get that taken care of yesterday. Um, Very lush, very lush. Maybe I can show that to you. So we're about connecting with some family on this side of the water, and I'm trying to do my best to represent our family here in terms of being able to build something that is sustaining, being able to build something that can, provide and create, not just with different words, but with actions. So part of the actions are to really interact with our brothers and sisters to then provide the idea. Have a lot of great brains and Brain Trust. Yeah, I'm sorry. There's a lot of. I'm in the countryside right now, so hopefully you all can hear me. So just to recap, I'm on my way to meet up with the king in the village that we're interacting with. That's providing some opportunities for us, and once those opportunities have developed, that'll create more opportunities. So where I'm headed to is about an hour outside of Greater Accra, just depending on traffic. In town, and we were in traffic for about a good 45 minutes. And unfortunately, I have the king waiting on me in terms of um, being received, and that's not a very good. That's not very good. I really don't like to be late. I always like to be early. But I made sure to call the king and let him know that, we're going to be arriving um, as soon as we possibly can. Um, right now, we're on the road where it's a highway, actual highway, 2-lane highway. So, the traffic is moving, but we're outside of the city. So we don't really have to worry too much about um, the amount of traffic per se that we would generally have to worry about. So um, to me, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Tanzania or Tanzania, just a little bit more lush, and we're just on the west side instead of the east side. So you kind of get to the similar feelings, the similar tones, similar styles, but the history is a lot different with the people, and so understand that this is really the region of where some of our captivity was on at. So every time we were in a region or in captivity, there was a siphoning of sorts. Some folks got siphoned off for their for this one or that one, and they have stories. Shout out to Brother Yacoba. I'm still getting the information, the understanding. So on this channel, I know I brought that out a lot about the wild man and the Moors of Europe. But to be honest, those are the stories that they also understand because they know as elements of Ashanti and the subgroups of Akan, which is basically how they group themselves under. They came from Germany during the Spanish Inquisition. So all of this historical analysis has been proven because then you take your secondary research, which is what Jacoba and Teo and Dante and many of our other scholars have proven with the secondary research, and then you have to do your primary. And your primary is really interviewing the people on the ground. It's really getting say things because again, you have a lot of influence within that regions of the Middle East, the eastern side of the Middle East, and also Europe. So these are a lot of the things that we have to contend with. Now, shout out to this um, On this trip, I've met a lot of fantastic people. My driver has been excellent and given some information. And this is a different thought process because, you know, 2 years ago when I went to Tanzania, Tanzania was different. I can only imagine how things are shaping up. However, here in West Africa, West Africa is totally different, especially when you understand how the influence of Burkina Faso, specifically with President Captain Ibrahim Traore, has been able to support basically what we've been saying. And what he said it on a much bigger stage, a much larger stage worldwide. And that stage is something that the powers that should not be, as Sister Shana would say, in the West has been trying to silence over and over again. So we're here at a time where Africa is undergoing a major inflection point. How do they proceed? Because now they have to have a decision. Do they go with BRICS and then have another sort of colonialism, this time under an Asiatic global South rule that's headlined by China? Or do they open the doors, and are they even going to have the chance to have an open door? Or do we just get, flung on to Africa? I think a lot of folks understand that, especially over in the United States, for our US audience, that you have now this administration in the US under the guidelines of Project 25. This is something that we have um, to really deal with as a people. I don't know about you all, but to be honest, I would rather be in a situation where I would know where I would go or head on out to rather than being dragged off and just thrown out in the middle of nowhere. All the things I have been saying literally on this platform, on this channel, you're now seeing headlines. It's now being demonstrated in front of our faces. It may not be necessarily quote unquote black folks first, but understand the stage that they always try to set. Okay, we'll do it to this group, we'll do it to this minority, and then we're gonna test lessons learned. That's how that goes. They want to make sure that it's either painless or painful. They don't know. We don't know. But if you're trying to get rid of a people, well, guess what you're going to do? You're going to make it as painful as 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 possible. This is why the scripture says, the word says that we'll be weeping, asking each other, hey, is it to the folks here, the Ghanaians here? They even understand that this isn't really their homestead either. They know that their homestead is Yarushalayim. Now they will name it a couple different names because everybody's dialect is different. Means for them to, yeah, yeah, you're starting to see kind of the mountains here coming in the distance. Then we got a major, there we go, Hollywood production. We're not the Dukes of Hazzard, we're the Dukes of Accra. Accra. We got the African Bow and Luke. So the road here is actually nice and paved. Looks like they've constructed over it. They haven't added the lines yet, but you know you can see a lot of the trailers here. They call them the lorries here. This road is on the way to Kumasi. Kumasi is the seat of the Ashanti region, which was part of the Ashanti Empire. The Ashanti Empire grew out of empires like Songhai and other empires that were here. So, of course, if you are being exiled from out of Europe because you just had been exiled a couple hundred years earlier from out of Jerusalem, well, you're going to obviously walk the walk and talk the talk. Pretty interesting to see how that goes. Give me a sec. So, please like, share, subscribe. See if this is working or if something fell apart. Give me a one if you can hear me. Give me a two. If you can't. All right, looks like I'm coming back. Yeah, there we go. I'm coming back. But your support, family, is highly, highly critical. Um, there, in the planning, I was trying to raise some of the some of the funds to allow for me to come on out here and to be able to take a look and record some of these things. Okay, it looks like I'm getting ready to get into the actual town. So, just family, definitely keep me up in your thoughts and prayers. I know that we're in a time where, you know, it's tough. It is tough. It's difficult for everyone. But the craziest thing is that I'm coming here to a region, to an area. They don't even realize how rich and wealthy they are. This area is full of wealth that literally other nations come to exploit. So imagine us coming here to help them, to support them, to give them just a little bit of knowledge transfer, to create jobs and opportunities based on the resources that they already have. It's not anything that's far fetched. It's actually a reality. So it looks as though I'm kind of getting into the area. I'd say I'm probably a good 10, 15 minutes away. So I'm gonna try and keep up with you all as uh, as much as I possibly can before the internet cuts on out because we're getting into some pretty rural places and spaces. So yeah, it was a very interesting situation to come on out here. But I'm gonna tell you, the Most High has given favor in terms of processes that was needed to get things done. So that was definitely the Most High's favor. So it sounds like you all must be able to hear me just a little bit, which is actually pretty good being out here in this country and the roads. So as I'm looking, a lot of these containers, this is one of their main roads that goes into their city. Unfortunately, it's a two-lane road, and that's kind of what you're gonna have. All right, can you all hear me? There you go. Unfortunately, it's a two-lane road, but that's what you're gonna have. We're trying to help with efficiency. The West to get things that was needed, and then they just said forget everybody else. Gee, we kind of understand that pattern. For the most part, we actually understand that pattern. which is a pretty bad pattern. But that's something that we have grown through, and that's something that we're living in right now. And the reality is that, they're living in this pattern. Give me just a second. Let me see if I can do this.